It has been called the next ticking time bomb for the U.S. economy. The billions of dollars in debt that students and parents alike are borrowing to pay for a college education. Here with more on the problem and what could be done to control it is accountant Paul Lupo from Lupo of Associates in Shelton. Good having you back on the program.
Thank you for having me.
You know, there's one school of thought that says this is just a bubble ready to burst. There's another school of thought that said, no, I think this is controllable. We'll be able to manage this. Where do you come in on the issue?
I really think this is going to be like the next housing bubble. It's getting ready to burst because there's no way that children can afford to be taking out $150,000, $200,000 worth of loans after their college years and then start paying them back.
I guess the average, the numbers that are out, the average student once they graduate owes about $27,000. That's the average. And I guess it's because if you borrow from the federal government, you're capped in terms of your borrowing. But a lot of students, aren't they turning to private loans, which have much higher interest rates?
Yes. Whatever they're unable to get from the federal government, it is being also going to private loans as well as Parent Plus loans where the parents are also signing on and co-signing for those loans.
Now, there's a big debate in Washington right now with regard to one of the student loans and the interest rate doubling by July up into the 6% range from the 3% range. But this is a small group, isn't this? This is the subsidized student loans.
Correct.
So explain the difference, because there's the unsubsidized that students qualify for too.
Okay, a subsidized student loan means that they don't have to start paying it back until 6 months after they are out of school. So once they graduate college, they have 6 months to then start repaying the loan. An unsubsidized loan means that they're going to start paying it immediately once you take the loan. So for starters, if you're already in college, you need to be able to start paying this loan off immediately if it's unsubsidized, which is a problem, obviously, if you're trying to go to school and pay.
I think many students feel like they have no choice. The momentum is so much moving them in the direction that they've been told you have to have a college education. A college education from XY University is going to guarantee that you're going to earn far more than if you went to this university. So they feel like, all right, well, where do I sign? How are you, because I know you work with a lot of families, how are you advising them on making the college choices that they make?
Unless it's a very high-end university, MIT, Harvard, Yale, something of that nature, once its child is out of college, we always tell them it's what they make of their own career. The first time, second job, that might get them in the door, but in reality, it's the quality of what you've gotten out of the school that you've gone to, and you as a person, what can you do for your career and to help yourself along.
And you, when you're counseling families, because as you mentioned, many of these loans, parents have to co-sign on, so essentially these are family loans. But you say you really have to assess what you own and maybe reconfigure where things are to make yourself perhaps eligible for more money.
Correct. The college rules for getting a federal financial loan are pretty much, they look at certain assets are classified as money that they are going to be counted against them. For example, a 529 plan. The college looks at that, and if you have $20,000 saved for your child, they're going to take that $20,000 automatically and say, oh, that's our money. In addition to what they feel the family should be paying for college. Because what the FAFSA form does is figure out what is the expected family contribution. So they add, so if it's $20,000, they add another $5,000 a year to it.
So are you saying that having a 529 plan is not a good idea?
For college purposes, correct. For tax purposes, it's great, but in reality, it counts dollar for dollar against you.
All right, so look at other ways to save. What other ways would you advise families then to save and not using the 529 plan?
Well, that's where each family is different, and you have to look at it on an individual basis. However, if you do put your money into a regular money market account, or I'm sorry, a mutual fund, stocks, typical investments, there's nothing wrong with that, because if a few years prior or the year before your child's going to be going to school, you can take that money out and move it to other areas that are not going to be counted against you for financial aid.
And what advice do you have to students that once they've completed their college educations, to whatever money they borrow, to manage that debt once they've left? For example, consolidating some of that money, trying to get your rate to a fixed rate versus a variable rate.
Absolutely correct. We always try to sit down with the students and have them absolutely consolidate it all, have a set monthly payment, have it all fixed.
Which at one point you could only do once. You could only consolidate once.
Correct.
So you had to think long and hard about if that was the time to do that.
Right. And with this historical low rates, this is obviously
This is the time to do that. Well, Paul, good having you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Paul, Lupo and Associates in Shelton.